Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we are going to create this illustration. So let's get started. Let's start by adding in a color to the canvas. I have all the colors listed here so you can see them. Let's start with the igloo. So for the igloo, we'll start with the rectangle shape. Let's go into edit mode, select the upper two corners and round them. So that represents the dome of the igloo. Let's decrease the height a bit. Now let's create the bricks for it. So for the bricks, let's start with the line tool and create a simple line. Add in a thickness of 10 and set the color to white. Duplicate this using Alt plus left click and drag and press Ctrl D to repeat the action. So let's select them all and group them together. So for the vertical lines, let's use the line tool again and create a small line from one line to the other line. Let's give it a thickness of 15 and color white. Duplicate this and press Ctrl D to repeat the action. Select all of these and group them together. Duplicate them down and use Ctrl D to repeat the action. So now you'll see that it creates a simple grid, but let's select each row and move it a bit. So that creates the brick structure of it. Let's add some irregularity also so that it looks kind of interesting. Use Ctrl key and select the remaining lines and delete them. Select them all and group them. Let's rename them bricks. So let's color in this dome shape with this color BCF3FF and let's add in a linear gradient. Before that, we'll duplicate this shape and keep it aside. So let's add a linear gradient. So add in a fill, select the fill and select from solid to linear. Move the top color to the left side and the bottom color to the right side. So we have a horizontal gradient. For the first color pick this color, and for the second one, color pick this color. So now we have a gradient at 20%, which creates a subtle 3D look. So let's hide this and we have our dome. So let's bring this rectangle on top of the bricks, select both and use it as mask. So now we have this structure which is masked to the dome. Select these, select the mask group and rename it again to bricks. Bring it on top of the bricks and color it white. Align it to the dome and we are done with the dome of the igloo. Select both and group them together and let's rename it dome. So for the entrance, we'll start again with the rectangle. Go into edit mode, select top two corners and round them. Let's duplicate it. Let's add in color also. So now let's add another rectangle. So what you need to do is select this rectangle and bring it to the center of this one and to the center of this one. Now let's color it the same as this one and let's color this rectangle as a lighter color. So when you bring this on top, you'll see that it represents a tunnel-like structure, and the length of it depends on this rectangle. The longer this rectangle, the longer the tunnel. So we don't want it this long, so let's reduce the size to something like this. Let's bring this rectangle over. So we have our basic shape. Let's create an entrance to it. Duplicate this shape using Ctrl D and reduce it in size. Change its color to this one and we'll see that it looks like it's hollow. So now we just need to create a shadow in here so that it looks a bit more 3D. Let's duplicate this shape here and select this color. Let's duplicate it once more and change it to this color. So now what you'll see, bring this shape on top of this one and bring it here. So we need this shape right here. This is the shadow that we need to fit inside this door. So we'll select these two shapes and go to subtract selection, and we are left with this shape. Let's bring it over back to the entrance, and here we have kind of a shadow. So that creates our entrance to the dome. It's a bit long. Reduce it even more, and let's select them all and group them and call them entrance. Let's slap it onto the igloo and we'll see that it's complete. Let's select them both, group them and rename them to igloo. Let's add in the snow, which also acts as the horizon line. Let's color it and send it to back. Let's lock it also and rename it to snow. Let's add some distant trees in the back. So for the trees, with a polygon, right click and flatten it to bring the bounding box close. Let's keep a copy and let's add some circles. Duplicate them and let's color in them white so we can see better what's happening. So we want some variation. Let's select them all together and group them. Let's select this polygon and bring it on top. Select it together with the circles, right click and use as mask. So we have this shape left. Select this shape and color it to white and we have the snow. Let's bring this back, and if we color this green, it will look like a tree with some snow on it. Let's select them both and group them together. Let's bring it down, duplicate and reduce the size, duplicate again and reduce the size again. So we have a tree shape. Let's add in a trunk that will be a simple rectangle and color it brown. Let's add it to the tree, send it to back and select all of these and group them together. Let's rename it tree 1. Let's duplicate this tree altogether, make it a bit smaller, go into selection colors and change the color a bit so we have a different kind of tree. let's add in a hole in the snow. Select the ellipse tool and create an ellipse. We are going to create a simple cylinder, so duplicate this one and add in a rectangle in between. So as you saw with the tunnel, what we did over here to increase the depth, we used this rectangle. So we'll do the same thing. Let's color in this white to show you an example. So if the layers are arranged correctly, it will look something like this. This cylinder, this ellipse needs to be on the top. So we have a ellipse on top, a rectangle in between, and a third ellipse. So when they're stacked something like this, it represents a cylinder. So we'll reduce the length of this and adjust the ellipse, lower ellipse accordingly. Let's change the colors to this color and this color. Let's select it all and group it and call it hole. Let's invert this and adjust the size and place it over the snow, and we'll see it represents like a hole. It's a bit longer, so I'll reduce the height of the rectangle to adjust it. So let's add in our penguin. Before that, a huge shout out to all the subscribers to the channel. We are at 350 subs and most of my viewers aren't subscribed. So hit that subscribe button and keep creating. For the penguin, let's start with the rectangle as always. So select the rectangle, double tap to go into edit mode, select the upper two vertices and round them completely. Select the lower two and round them just a little. Let's color it in using this color. Let's duplicate this using Ctrl D, reduce it in size and color it white. Let's zoom in to see what we are working on. So let's make it a bit thin and let's add in the eye. So for the eye, we'll add in an ellipse and color it white. For the actual eye, we'll use in another ellipse, go into edit mode and bring this vertex up so it looks like he's smiling from the expression of the eye. Reduce it in size, color it in black and bring it over here. Let's add in the beak. For the beak, we'll use a polygon or a triangle. Create a triangle, rotate it 90 degrees, right click and flatten it. Go into edit mode, select the lower vertex and bring it up so it makes a right angle triangle. Select an orange color for the upper beak and let's duplicate this, right click and flip vertical. Add it, join it with the upper beak and reduce it in size, and let's darken the color a bit. So that completes the beak. Let's see how it looks. It's a bit bigger, so we'll adjust it. Let's add in some feet. We'll use simple rectangle. Go into edit mode, select this corner and round it. Add in the feet here and color it the same as the beak. Duplicate it and color it as the lower beak. Send this one to the back so it looks a bit 3D. We'll use the same rectangle, copy it here, rotate it and color it same as the body, and that will make the tail. Let's add in a flipper or the arm here. We'll use the same rectangle, rotate it, increase in length and width, and let's add a linear gradient to it. Change the fill from solid to linear and change the colors like this. The upper color will be the same as the body and the lower color will be a bit lighter. So when you place it on top here, I did not adjust the opacity there. When you adjust the opacity, it will look something like this. I think this white portion is a bit too much, so let's reduce it and move the flipper a bit to the front. I think it can be more blue, so let's improve the color and rotate it accordingly. So that completes our penguin. So let's add in our fish and the stick. For the fish, we'll create an ellipse for the body of the fish. For the tail, duplicate the ellipse and reduce it in size. Add 2 more duplicates and rotate them like this. Select them all and group them together and add it to the body of the fish. Select them all and color them in. So to show some movement in the body of the fish, what we'll do is select the ellipse, double tap, select these 2 vertices and push them up. So select these 2 and adjust individually also. Now select the tail and rotate it accordingly. Let's reduce in the size also. Let's add in an eye to the fish. So I just used the text tool and written X in it and selected it white in color. Now just place it on top of the fish and it will look like its eye. I think the body is a bit too curved, so let's reduce it a bit. That's good. Let's add in a stick. Let's group this all together and add a stick on which the fish is hanging. So for the stick, we'll use the pen tool. Just start from here and add 2 points like this. Let's give it a thickness of 5 and select both the ends as rounded. Bring the fish to the front of it. Let's rename our fish. Let's select our penguin, group it and rename it. I think everything else is renamed. It's good to rename your layers so that you don't forget what's what. So let's add the other side of the stick. So to give it a kind of 3D look, what I did is make half of the stick here and half of the stick here like this. So that gives a sense that the stick is going through the body of the fish and coming from the other side. So let's add a ripple type effect on the base of the stick, which shows that it is stuck in the ground. For that, we'll create a circle, use the arc tool and reduce the ratio or increase the ratio and create something like this. Let's adjust it, adjust the start and the end point to something like this, and then we'll just reduce the height so it looks it's like in a 3D space. Let's place it over here and color it in the same as this. Let's select all of this and group them together and call it fish. Now to finish all the scene, you can add in the campfire. I hope you all know how to make this campfire by now from the Campfire tutorial. If not, I'll link that video in the description and you can watch that and create it. So that was it for this tutorial. I hope you enjoy making this, and if you make this, do share it on your Instagram, on your stories. I'd love to see what you create and how you create it. So tag me on Instagram, the links will be in the description. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one.